A very good morning to you. How are you doing? And welcome to your world. My name is Mary. Always lovely to have you join us every single day for this particular show. Hoping to start your day in an amazing way. And this being Tuesday, of course, unajua tuko maneno ya roho, relationships, love, and all of that. And last week, we had just an hour of a very interesting conversation. So we are going to finish that conversation today. So I hope you're excited about that. So last week, what we did is we looked at the magic of love at first sight. You know, you lock eyes with someone, the world fades, time pauses. It actually stops sometimes. It's electric, but is it real? What happens after that? Is that enough to build a relationship on? And we really dug deep into that. But then what happens after mume juana, mume pendana, electricity imefanya ile kitu? What really happens after that? And of course, I have an amazing panel to help us have that conversation and take it a notch higher from where we left it off last week. And starting on my immediate left is none other than Myriam Mwangi. That sounds like we're doing an auction.
I know, right?
Yeah, so a relationship coach. Right next to Myriam, we have Moffat Kago, who's a psychologist, family and marriage coach as well. Lovely to see you. The green be popping. It's popping. And right next to Moffat, we have a Bishop Grace Muthoni Dalizu. Karibu sana. Hey! And right next to Bishop, we have Dr. Taji. Karibu sana to the show. He is a sociologist and a researcher as well. Karibu sana. I love the combination of this because we get to hear from different, aspects of life. But before I get to indulge you on this conversation today, we have a question for you. And the question we are asking you today is, I know we asked something close to this yesterday, but we are asking you, if you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? And I feel like probably today, I might just divulge some information that is personal. So keep it right here, NTV Kenya, on all our social media platforms. And you can WhatsApp us as well. You can call us. Our lines are open. So the question we're looking at generally today is, when that spark happens, what really goes on after that? And can it turn into something substantial? Or is it just one of those things that wears off? And last week there was a question that was asked that we didn't get to really dig deep into. When that spark happens, and it doesn't probably happen once in a lifetime, probably experience it over and over again. The question I have today, and I noted it down because last week atukufika hapo. The question was, is it possible when we feel that instant chemistry? We called it many names. Kuna dopamine, kuna Moffat funza. But are we actually repeating patterns? Not finding just new love, but, familiarity. Familiar pain, familiar something, familiar. Do we think that is what happens when you constantly look at people and there's something that is attractive about them?
Different people?
Yeah, because you don't, so it's when you, let me paraphrase this. It's not the first time that probably you feel an attraction when you see someone. Yeah. So when you look at that trend, are we falling in love with the same person, or are we falling in love with something? What is happening there?
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I think is feelings that have gone amok. Because you cannot, if it is with one person, then there's an excuse. Maybe there's something about that person that has been so intense in you, and the feelings are so intense, and the chemical reaction is just attracted to that person. But if you keep feeling the same with other people, I think you need to go for checkup, and mostly see a therapist.
So I'm not even sharing story at the end.
That's what I feel. Maybe the psychologists feel different. But you can't feel the same with everybody.
Yeah, that is the probably it's how they smell, how they look, like you have a type. Kwanza jawline yao ikikaa ya Idris Elba. Unajua Idris Elba?
Yeah. But you have to have self-control.
Yes.
You know, okay, maybe I'm not putting it well into perspective. But I feel, yes, you can't control that love at first sight.
Yes.
And we said it in many ways, and I think Moffat also explained it, and Dr. Taj.
Yes.
But what I want to say is that if it is once off, then you pay attention.
Okay.
You pay attention to it. But if it happens that you are attracted to certain people who behave in a certain way, or speak certain words, or they address you in a certain way, or they look at you, Mwikali,
hey,
so to speak, the way you are beautiful, people keep looking at you, then you dismiss that. Okay. It's not something to really pay attention to. And you have to have self-control and know there's something they're attracted to, but I'm not willing to give attention to it.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Any other take?
I think let me say something, and I like that she's used that word later on. Let's call it what it is. Attraction at first sight.
Aha. Okay.
Let's not call it love at first sight. Attraction at first sight. Okay. And I'm sure Moffat talked about the chemicals. That's what causes those attraction at first sight. But you did bring something interesting where you're saying, what if you keep having love at first sight for the same person? I mean, for different people.
Yes.
And I want to introduce the concept whereby people actually love love. People love love.
Yeah.
They like the feeling that they get when they're in love. They get the feeling they get when they are attracted to someone. And if you're not careful, you can keep chasing that feeling because it's exhilarating. Like, think about it, Mikali. The first 3 months that you're into someone, you know, you're feeling, you actually look brighter, you actually look more attractive, you actually feel good, you feel like you're on top of the world because of the dopamine, the serotonin, like those chemicals are in play in you and they keep you feeling good. Guess what? You're gonna keep chasing that feeling. Okay. And there are people who are actually chasing that feeling. Like, I feel like my love with this person has fizzled out. I feel like it's wearing out. I want something more exciting, more intoxicating. So you know what? You go try and fall in love with someone else. You notice someone else in the corner, they're attractive, the eye contact, you know, the exhilaration, the sexual attraction. And it keeps you wanting to just, you know, chase after different people. Yes. But when it fizzles out, you are like, I'm out of love with this person. I'm out of attraction with this person because you're looking for that same dose, that same fix, that same exhilaration. It's a high. Falling in love with love is a high. And there are people who are breaking very good relationships because they want that high.
Yeah.
It's very intoxicating. You know, after you've stayed with someone 6 months, 1 year, that one is building something. Yeah. You're actually making a conscious decision to be in that relationship. You're making a conscious decision to invest
in that,
but there's no that, you know. Yeah. And so when you go somewhere else and there's this person giving you that feeling, the feeling, they're looking at you and you're feeling desired and you're feeling, you know, because maybe the other relationship you've become complacent. Guess what? You're going to want to chase after that, after that high.
Yeah.
So it's the high that keeps people wanting to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Myriam, for that, and Bishop. I really love that, and if I can build still on that line of thought, last time we said that sometimes we don't really fall in love with people just per se.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is what they awaken in us. And sometimes we make a mistake and we think that we are falling in love with somebody, but there's something that somebody awakens in you.
Yeah.
Say, for example, you know, somebody feels the matundoriro that as
you got it right. I think I've been saying it enough times on this show. Yes.
Because of seeing someone with certain height and they just feel something because of you know, the appearance of somebody. Sometimes it is somebody awakening you know, what do we call it, a scent that we love.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there are times when we project our deficiencies on others.
Okay.
Maybe it is something that you so much missed but you so much yearn to have someone come and fill that empty cup, because as far as you are concerned, your cup is empty. And therefore, when you come across somebody who carries some attributes that you so much desired, but you never got to acquire them, you feel like they are awakening something in you.
Yes.
And therefore we say, we do not necessarily fall in love with people just per se, but because of what they awaken in us.
Yeah.
And we cannot call it love at that particular point.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think, Dr. Taji, looking at it from a sociologist point of view, would you say that probably as a culture we are conditioned to probably just chase that high? Probably want the easy things, or kama imekuwa ngumu, to just look at what is easiest for us to get into or enjoy?
Thank you. Actually, what you're describing is what some sociologists call the Hollywood model of love.
Hollywood?
Yes, the Hollywood model.
Okay.
Because it was conceptualized in Hollywood, actually.
Yes.
In movies, that love can be spontaneous, you know, and intense.
We are walking, we've hit each other, books have flown on the floor, then we are picking it up, looking at each other.
When the eyes, when you lock eyes, there's something.
Something happens. The world stops.
Yes.
Birds are chirping.
And in fact, it's frozen at that point.
Yes.
That is the Hollywood model of romance. And for them, romance is an industry. Love is an industry.
Okay.
That sells. It's big money. You know, they move from the movies themselves. Weddings are big money things. And then the ring, the gowns, and all this that is associated with love.
Yes.
And now we even have dating apps and so on.
Yes.
All of these are part of the romance industry that is selling the idea that love can be spontaneous and intense. Unfortunately, of course the spontaneity ends with the time. But the intensity, unfortunately, many people expect the intensity to continue for a long time. But when it does not continue for long, again the Hollywood notion, the Hollywood model involves spontaneous divorce. Spontaneous separation. I no longer feel you, and therefore we separate. So it is something that we are conditioned into by everything around us, through media, through talk, and so on, the expectation. So we're just falling into a conditioned model.
I mean, even storybooks, as the Cinderella. I just need, like, atanipata tu hapa, helpless, they will save me, there's a chariot, and he looks a certain kind of way. It is not...
There's something, what we call it, that I have noticed, even with myself. When somebody is extremely kind with their words, you know, the way they talk to you, and they give you the whole attention. If you're not careful, it could change your dimension of the way you see them and begin to feel something different. And I think that is what causes that attraction that people call many times falling in love
at first sight.
Instantly. Then there's something else that also attracts people instantly like that, is the way they are poised, the way they talk, the way they stand, their confidence, and sometimes their physical appearance. Somebody who is very well groomed tends to cause you to be attracted to them instantly. And that's why I spoke in the beginning, I said, you have to just be disciplined. And what Myriam has said, don't fall in love with love, because it becomes an addiction. So to speak. And when that, you know, the person no longer talks the same way, because there are people who initially they will speak to you in a very, you know, very soft way, very attractive way. Words are put together very well that will cause you to keep wanting to listen to this person. In fact, you'll go so far. There's something I felt. Let me say this. I want just to add on to this.
Even
after you get married, for us who are married, there's one person you ever interacted with that keeps flashing back into your life. And that is with me. I don't know others, but I want to say it's not something that you want to talk about it to your lover or to your husband or to your wife, but it's something very remote, very primitive. That you remember that person, the way they talk to you, the way they held your hand, when you are talking, the way you locked eyes, you realize that you never found that anywhere else. And yet now you are married. So you keep wondering, was that the love or is this the love? You know, you keep asking yourself. And that is the most natural way to feel. But I feel marriage is not led. You don't lead yourself into marriage, or you are not led to marriage by what you felt about somebody for just a moment or a few weeks or a few days. Even if it's a few months, that's not what leads you to establish yourself into a permanent relationship.
So we agree that this excitement will fade. It will fade. So what happens then? What determines if that is how we met and we've decided probably to build on it? Somehow I like how you talk. We can see, other than the first impression, a lot of that. But what determines whether that kind of fast-paced falling in love now actually materializes into something more substantial?
Maybe you take that, Mikali, a bit of it. I'm sure other guys will have input. That kind of attraction, as you're saying, helps bring you together in the very beginning. Where you're feeling like, I want to get to know this person better. And that's precisely it, getting to know the person. And in getting to know the person, that's when you you ask the questions. Are we compatible? Intellectually, spiritually, mentally? Are we on the same level? Can we actually sit and have a conversation together? And these conversations that we're having, are we having logical conversations? Are we having things that can build us together to be one? And you realize most of the time you end up realizing we're not compatible. We can't even hold a conversation. And after the matunduriros are over, you feel, okay, that is over. Like there's nothing else holding us together. The conversations are rather boring and bland. We don't have the same intellectual whatever. We don't have the same mind about money. We have nothing in common. The only thing that held us together was my feelings. Let me give you a very personal experience. I was young, very young, and you're just breaking out. I grew up in a very strict family, and so this is the time now that you've gone to campus, you're just breaking out, So you've gone for a picnic. Attraction is very silly. You've gone for a picnic, and then you see this guy dancing in a particular way, like, dang, he's dancing well. I like the way he's dancing. You start feeling like, and he looks good, and you get attracted to this person just by merit of how they are dancing, how they are carrying themselves, how they look confident and cocky, like Bishop was saying. He looks confident, he has a sense of humor, and you're like, this is it. Me, I found the one, and the things lead to one another. You start talking, you start dating, but then pale kwa dating, you're like, we have nothing to say to each other. Except when we are holding hands, we have nothing to say to each other. In fact, you're hoping, let's go to the movies, because we don't have to conversate, we don't have to talk. Then you realize, okay, after that, then even there are no commonalities, there's no common ground, and you quickly, quote unquote, fall out of love. Whatever attracted you to this person is the same thing in a kusina. This time you're like, you could dance. And when you draw you to this person, this is how they dance. No, it's the same style all the time. Come on. You're like, and you fall out. Because you know. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, that may lead you to want to be with this person. But then you come to realize there's no common ground. There's nothing to build on. I've found, even the Bible says, whoever builds their house on sinking sand sinks. But if you build it on a strong foundation, it stays. Yeah. So you realize that the attraction is just a spark to get you to build something. Yeah. But if it remains to be the foundation, mtasink mahali, mtaenda tu mtaenda tu mkinini, mnajipata tu mmeanguka.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break and we'll pick it up from there. But for our viewers at home, the question we're asking you today is, if you locked eyes with someone across the room, paint a picture. Lock eyes, and you felt something intense, intense, what would you do next? If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? NTV Kenya on all our social media platforms. Call us, our lines are open. If you have any questions whatsoever, we have an amazing panel that will definitely answer all of your questions. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back to Your World Tuesday edition. And can a love that starts first truly go the distance, or does it burn too hot to last? Yani, you've locked eyes, and that's the question we're asking you today. If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? NTV Kenya on all our social media platforms. Please indulge us. Our phone lines are open as well, so tupigie simu utueleze. That and then I think there was a clarification nuku behind the scenes. Yeah, there's locking eyes and then there's looking. It's only between different. You move from love at first sight to something else altogether. And the question that I have right now is, maybe this is for you, Moffat, and anybody else can just chime in for this. When you probably meet a couple and you're talking to them, people who are probably experiencing this they met, are you able to discern or see if it was just chemistry or compatibility? Like, do they confuse that with the other? And are you able to are they able to see what it is and probably start working on building onto something, if there is something to build onto that? Thank you,
Mwikali. Before I respond to that, I want to build on what Myriam has said.
Yes.
You know, what we call love at the first sight, sometimes it is when we are operating from what Bishop has said, and that's a very important term that he has used, that we use it in psychology. The primitive, we usually say that the brain has its primitive part. You know, the limbic system and what we call the amygdala. You know, that is the place where emotions are produced. And there are some people who continue to reason with that very primitive part of the brain.
Okay.
And they get into what they are calling love. But you know, the moment you get into a long-term relationship or even marriage or a serious relationship, slowly that whole game begins to shift from being, operating from the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain, to now the logical part of the brain, where we have the prefrontal cortex, where people are now able to reason and to have logic and to be able to reason out stuff. And at that particular point is when now it calls for vulnerability, that somebody agrees to be vulnerable to the other party. Because even this person who got attracted to this person, because what we are calling love at the first sight is now when we are operating from that primitive part of the brain. But then there is another stage where now you begin now to reason out things, and you begin to use your logic, you begin to use your intellect. And at that particular point, you begin to feel like there's a certain element of this person that I don't like, that I don't admire. But you also need to understand that there is also something, that other person who got into the box, there is also something that they are also going to see, which they probably do not like about the partner. There's a question I was asked some years back at KTN, that is this stuff about Mr. Right, is it something real? And I said, and I want to say it again, there is no Mr. Right. You know, when you are joined with a person, with a man or with a woman, it is like the way somebody goes to a quarry and you chip out a stone and you give it the shape that you want.
Yeah.
And the other person, and I have seen that photograph, that image on social media many times, where somebody is like a stone and they have a chisel and a hammer, and they are the other person is, you know, chiseling them out to give them a shape that they want.
Yes.
So therefore, a serious relationship must go through some phases, whereby we become patient with one another. And that is why many people have bought the lie that this somebody needed to be my Mr. Right. And therefore you get in and you sort of discover that they are not your Mr. Right or Miss Right. And I want to demystify that and say, the reason why people will quit so fast is because you begin to be revealed, because the nature of marriage is to reveal each other.
Yeah.
You know, marriage is so perfect, it's so pure that it cannot retain impurities. And therefore, once you get in, this institution begins to reveal who you are. Yeah. And many times people run away from being revealed, not because that party was not my Mr. Right or was not what I wanted.
Yes.
But it is because the journey of being revealed is usually very uncomfortable.
That's true.
And it calls for us to be vulnerable so that you can say, let me give an example.
Okay.
You know, when I got married, Mwikali,
yes,
I used to have problems with, you know, when we are polishing shoes, and the way you tap that shoe polish,
yes,
I needed someone to be very organized in the way they, you know, they do it. So much so that by the time that polish is getting finished, it leaves a ring. You know, pale kwa mkebe. But I usually had problems with people who would prick it like this and it leaves some pieces, you know. And you know, when you get married, you realize that there are some things that you don't like.
Yes.
But because you want to be vulnerable with one another, and they get to know that you don't like it, then you also understand that the person who is coming into the picture is actually someone who is doing opposite of what you want. But that is who they are. Now, should I say that they are not my Miss Right because of that?
Yeah. No.
Or maybe somebody who, you know, the toothpaste.
You know, anywhere.
They will press from whichever direction. Now, and to you, during our time, we didn't have the plastic ones that we have today.
Zilikuwa
zile za mabati. You press it na inatoa dawa from any direction. And it would piss you off. Now, you cannot say that that was not your Miss Right or your Mr. Right because of that.
Yeah.
Guys are being revealed. And the journey of being revealed is usually very uncomfortable. We've got to be vulnerable with one another. We bring on cultural humility because in as much as we are from one tribe or different tribes, there is that individual culture that somebody carries with them.
Yeah.
And they get to be revealed. And there are some of them that you don't like. But then you realize that the moment you begin to celebrate your differences, you begin to be aligned.
Yes.
Kila jino inapata mahali pake. Because you understand who they are. We actually say that we are one in marriage yet separate.
Yes.
And there are some people who are not able to be patient with one another, and they do not give room to separateness within marriage. Marriage, in as much as we say, and the two became one or shall become one, that is true. But even as you become one, there is room for separateness. That is why I don't agree with the idea that Bishop here gets married.
Yes.
And the husband, I don't know what he does.
Yes.
All of a sudden becomes a bishop or a pastor. Not because they wanted,
but just
because you are this, you expect that. And that is why I say that any marriage that kills career, it needs to be investigated.
Okay.
Because there is that element of individuality.
Yes.
That's why we say it's a mystery. That you get in, but then in as much as you are one, being one means that acknowledging and accepting and having room for her differences. You know, she may not be like me, but I have given it room in my own internal world, and I have accepted her for who she is. And you get used to that. That is why we have what we call the perpetual problems in marriage and solvable problems. Solvable problems are some things that arise within marriage, but you can actually iron them out and solve them But perpetual problems are problems or differences that arise as a result of personalities, different personalities. And you've got to learn how to live with them.
Yeah.
Because there is no way you can tell me that I need to stop being who I am. And I have seen so many people come in marriage, going back to your question, who have been made to be who they are not by marriage. And I can tell you, Mikali, it can be so boring to be in an institution where you are being forced by another person to be who you are not. You cannot be able to sustain that.
Yeah.
And that is where people begin even to become depressed in that same relationship.
Yeah.
Because somebody is like walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Because I do not want to offend him or her. Because he or she does not like this. And I usually tell spouses and the couples, please, cultural humility demands that you accept those people the way they are, provided that it is not eating away your relationship as a couple. I have seen people who will even tell their spouses, don't talk to that person, because they are my enemies. You know, you need not to do this because I don't like it. And I like saying that it is not sustainable.
Okay.
Somebody is going to lose who they are. Somebody is going to fall sick because of forcing them to live a life that they are not wired for.
Great. I can see Bishop was smiling huku katikati his story.
I wanted to talk about mystery.
Yes.
He has spoken about couples being mysterious.
Yes.
And while in marriage, they are discovered or they are revealed. What I want to say, what causes that attraction more often than not is that mystery. You want to discover this person. And I was reading somewhere that a man will, because they are natural hunters, they will not stop at anything until they discover you totally. So if you want to keep them coming, if you have found somebody, Mikali, and you want to keep the person coming, what you need to do is don't reveal yourself at the first, that date, the next date. If you want this person to be in your life, there are things that you must keep without revealing. And become vulnerable once you are actually in the marriage. That's the time you can say, oh, this happened and this happened. So that mystery, more often than not, men are attracted to it. They want to know more and more about you. But once you give them there and then that challenge is already worn out. There's something I also want to say about women towards men. When your man does not talk much, there's a lot of reservation in what they're thinking about, what many women are attracted to them. Even at, once you meet them and you find they are not very wordy, but the words they give are always affirming you, they are always encouraging you, they are always pushing you and urging you on, they are not really killing you, then that person becomes your person. And I want to say, yes, you can meet somebody, and once you listen to the way they talk, their appearance, and then that mystery of not knowing them fully, you get attracted and decide, you know what, I want to get into this relationship. Maybe one day I will know him fully. And you realize that once you get there, it's also a layer after layer. You don't get to know everything. Like I want to submit to you, Mikali and the panel, I've never known my husband fully.
Wow.
I'm still discovering him. There are things he say, and I say he can actually say this, and I fall in love a bit.
Again.
A bit. A bit. That again is not there. It's a bit. A bit. We keep going. So that one also intrigues. Don't give your whole story. Oh, nilifanywa, nilitendwa, I was done, I don't like. Let people discover you. Let them discover. Like I saw Myriam, there is a time she tried to analyze Bishop. You are this and you are that. And I was happy because I want somebody to try, because what she said, somebody else will say something else. I think that is the beauty of a relationship. Nobody should fully know you and say, mi namujua. Namujua ata kiongea huko najua vile amefikiria. No, people should not be able, even your own spouse, they should not read your mind fully. That is what will keep the spark.
I am curious.
You have to be curious and curious. Even when I get into the kitchen, he's not sure what I will get. In the morning, his breakfast. He doesn't know what will come out. You know, I plan and I say, this is what we need to give him for his strength, for his body, for this and that. And you can see the excitement in the morning when he's on the table. And I think that is what keeps the marriage, because you have to keep that attraction all the time, because it can wear off.
Absolutely.
And somebody tells you, know what, Mwikali, we are done. We are so done.
I have follow-up questions for what you've just talked about, because I think for maybe the girls who are watching, it'd be like, what are some of the things that probably I'd want to keep under wraps? What should I not give out at the very first beginning? Of course, there are major things that we're not giving out, but you know, like, what are some of those things? And for Moffat, when we come back, before I indulge Dr. Taji, is when we are going through that process of chiseling someone, then there's also this other side of things where people say, you're changing me, you're making me be somebody I am not. Mimi ni kweni sini kiwi too. Sorry, brand. Kusha mimi. You know, like it's just that you're changing me. You want things done a certain way. I have grown up doing them a certain way and stuff like that. So we'll just come back to that. But I'd like to find out from Dr. Taji, is there a certain stage in life where we are more prone to matundurirus and a certain age that we are not?
We have to adapt that.
Yes, we have yekwe kwa sijui kamusi ama ni dictionary. But is there a certain life stage? Because the way those sparks or things and how you dwell on that is probably not the same now when you're uku miaka karibu zeeni pension. It's not the same. Is a stage of life determinant?
Well, thank you. I don't really think it's a stage of life.
Okay.
It's all about socialization. How we have been socialized to behave. Okay? Because as humans, we behave within a certain construct. You don't just do things on your own. People like saying that I'm independent, I'm the individual, I do what I like. But how many times have you seen somebody walk naked on the streets? And yet many of us, when we get home, the first instinct is to, you know, be free and walk around freely. But do you do that on the streets? No. Because we are confined to a certain construct. So there are certain expectations that people have of people of a certain age. And that is why if somebody, say, my age, starts doing some things, there are question marks. But to respond to your earlier issue about longevity of marriage, there's a school of thought in sociology known as functionalism. According to functionalists, marriage has a function.
Okay.
And this function is defined by the people who are in that marriage. Okay. So when you get into a marriage, how do you define the function of that marriage in your own setting? Okay. So if, for instance, somebody uses the westernized definition of marriage as something that should make you happy, you know, you are going into marriage to look for happiness. Okay. And it means therefore that if you come to an instance where this happiness, as you defined it, disappears, then that marriage will be in trouble. There are those who see marriage to play the function of generating a family. Okay. So if you're going into marriage to get children and raise children and all that, so that is the main issue. So long as you are raising children and raising a family, that will constitute your happiness.
Okay.
So it's all about how what we expect from the marriage. The issue of one of my colleagues has mentioned that you can get into a relationship and then you discover that you are not compatible, you know, you don't even talk and so on. But there are people who are socialized into believing that this talking thing, you do it with your friends, okay?
That's true.
But when you get home, home is a place where, you know, you do A, B, C, D, and so on. So it all depends on your expectations getting into the marriage and how you have been socialized to deal with challenges that come up in that marriage. There are people who are socialized to confront challenges by asking, you know, and explaining themselves. But there are others who've been socialized to deal with challenges by keeping quiet, observing, and then adjusting. Okay? So if two people get into marriage, it is important that they understand their expectations and then try to manage those expectations into the marriage.
Okay. Do you feel like when we meet, if this relationship that we have, if we meet in the circumstance of love at first sight and probably decided to build on it, do you think that probably their expectations that we come with that probably are detrimental to this?
It depends.
Okay.
Because these expectations are built over time through socialization.
Okay.
So yes, the people can meet under those circumstances of Matunduliru.
Yes.
But then, based on their expectations and their socialization, they can adjust and it can last.
Okay, interesting. Bishop, tuko na hizo the things that we're supposed to hold back. Yeah, what are those things?
What you need to hold back, don't give your whole story. And I think I spoke about it some time back. You don't reveal yourself. Oh, I was with this boyfriend, I was with that.
So your past
is kept aside. And then now talk about you, but not everything. Don't talk about everything. You know, I used to have this person, we used to go. Let that be unveiled, you know, while in marriage. Because in marriage is where the layers are removed. You remove all the layers depending on how comfortable you are with the person and how, you know, connected you are, because people are still partying at 25 years of marriage. So you can't just leave your guards down and say, you know, now I'm married, I can say anything, I can behave anyhow. Just like he has said, you have to be a person that knows that this marriage is an institution that must be guarded. Even if it was out of whatever, I can't say that word. I'm very pleased that you can say it. But even if it was out of love at first sight, and then out of it you developed a relationship, and it has been growing, don't assume too much. I say in marriage or in this relationship, this institution we call marriage, a lot of people have taken a lot of things for granted. And that is what has made the relationships to fail. You say anything to your person and you don't know how they will take them.
That's true.
So it is a layer that you take off one at a time, and you have to really look at what is necessary to be said. So you have to still be a mysterious person in your own marriage. That when you are talking about something, you know, once upon a time we went, the person sits down to hear. But you don't say everything about you in the 2 years of marriage, and you don't know how well that they will last or not. Because a lot of people have made mistakes and they have ended up in, you know, separate ways because of talking too much. A marriage, just like Dr. Taji has said, sometimes depending on how we have been socialized, you know, and that socialization is what will determine more than anything else how long this relationship will stay. I love you, but I can't say everything. I love you, I can't treat you in a certain way. So I have to behave and make sure if it is food, it is me cooking for you and bringing, I know what you like. Or if it is the other side, let's say the husband, he knows what you need at certain times. So that you keep the relationship like that, but you don't go there and it's there. You know, everything is out. You are, you know, everything. You know, you do anything. You know, you go to the toilet. You don't flush because this is my husband or this is my wife. You don't, you know, clean after you. You know, those things will make the relationship break. Let the person look at you in a certain way. Can I say one thing?
Yes.
My husband is a person that is so organized. When he gets into, let's say, the bedroom, he will put his handkerchief. I'm now talking Kikuyu. Handkerchief, you know, together, put his oils together, the perfume together. But for me, on the other side, you may find mine on the floor. You know, my perfume may be on the floor. My shoe at the door. I'm the other, you know,
the other side.
I'm the other side. Men, they say men are the ones who behave like that. I behave like that. But him is so organized. You'll find him even picking my things, saying, my dear, you need to keep your things well. I say, okay, thank you. You understand? That is me. But again, I should not take that for granted, because I have to see how far is this thing pushing him. Because he could get irritated. So what I'm saying, don't become somebody so predictable. Yes, I put my things there, but tomorrow I remember it's not good to put them there. I put them well. But for him, he keeps, you know, and then once in a while he say, can you pick for me these things I put down? So we are living in an environment that is mysterious. I can't read him fully, though I know he's this and he knows I'm that. But we can't just let our guards down.
Absolutely. The one thing that I really love about this conversation, and probably having this panel on the show, is that we draw from our personal experiences. For anyone who's tuned in today and the last couple of weeks or months, they probably know a bit more about Myriam, Moffat, Bishop, and Dr. Taji, just a little bit more. So it draws from a place of, this is my life and I'm sharing it with you. So when we're at this pace of feeling nice, what is the importance of emotional regulation, and what kind of communications are we looking at if we want to build onto something? Because most of the times in Akwanga, you feel so much you have nothing to say. It's worse if they look nice, because we'll be staring instead of asking questions. If they look nice and they speak even better, now you will never speak, because you just want to hear them speak and all of that. The importance of emotional regulation, and how do we structure conversations around this time to just probably get the most out of them and know what it is that we are getting ourselves into, and if we are, you know, compatible really on values, principles, and all of that. But we will come to that after the break. The question we're asking you today is, if you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? Let us know. Indulge us with your answer on NTV Kenya, on all our social media platforms. Our lines are open. Please do call us. Our WhatsApp lines as well. Just jot us what it is that you will do or you have ever done. Okay? We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, welcome back. We're into the second hour of the conversation around love at first sight. Is it magic, myth? What is that mystery around love at first sight? And we started this conversation last week. Today we go deeper and we're going way beyond that spark. What happens after that? And we have a question for you today. If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? And on Facebook, Chorus Wakili says, only English people fall in love at first sight. So Africa tuache jokes. Any jokes? Gole Ricky says, to me, love at first sight ni more of infatuation na chemistry than real love. Yes, kuna venye mtu anaweza kukuattract instantly, looks, vibe, or even presence, lakini hiyo siyo love ya ukweli. It's more like your brain releasing dopamine na oxytocin, hizo feel good hormones, alafu unahisi ni mapenzi. Real love ni built kwa time, shared values na commitment. Hiyo love at first sight ni kama appetizer, but the main course ni what you build after getting to truly know the person. So I'd say it's a mix of magic, my feelings, science, hormones, na kidogo myth, expectations that we create. Thank you, Gola. That was a very nice breakdown. That was a really, really good breakdown. So indulge us on all our social media platforms, NTV Kenya, TikTok, Facebook, X, and Instagram, and we'll be checking your feedback on that. Our lines are open as well, so please do call us. But just before the break, I'd posed a question to you, Myriam, about regulating our emotions, even as we realize how I feel about you, ama what your presence makes me feel. Nikikuona hapa nasikia tumbo imejaa maji, nasikia yani joto, sijui nasikia nini. Lakini how do we regulate that and also at the same time build up on good conversations and communication?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mikali, for the question. I think even to talk about that, I'll build on what Bishop was talking about, you know, the mystery, the self-disclosure. I think two important things that she brought out, you know, with what she was saying is this: you have to keep allowing yourself to grow in marriage. Grow individually and grow as a couple. Because what she was saying is that even after 25 years of marriage, there should still be some mystery. I think that's where growth comes in. Because again, you don't want to skimp too much on self-disclosure, because there are things that you can hide that will come and break the marriage later. So I think it's the mystery grows with the growth that you're bringing within yourself. Don't stop growing as a person. If you read on your own. If you have adventures, have some adventures alone and adventures in the marriage, so that you can still have that mystery. If you can maintain the playfulness, I think like what Bishop is talking about, her husband never knows what she's going to cook. I think she's a very playful, cheeky, mysterious person. So she
are you?
You see, exactly. So she brings that cheekiness in the marriage, which now becomes mystery. So it's not that she's not disclosed who she is, but she has still maintained a level of her personality that allows growth, cheekiness, mysteriousness, and the husband is looking forward to that. Hey, I don't know what she's going to do today. You know. Secondly, the other thing that she brought out that was so important is don't stop being curious about your partner. You see, there are things that her husband will talk about and she's surprised. She's like, oh, you mean this guy? So she's curious about him. Because you know he can say something new and you don't notice. Because if you're not curious about him, itapita tu kwa hewa, like you won't see it. But she's remained curious about the guy, meaning he'll say something, you're like, hey, na yo umetoka wapi? You know, because she knew what he said yesterday, but today he's praised it differently. The curiosity is still there. So those two elements, growing individually and still growing together. All right? And maintaining curiosity. I want to know more about, so what did you do today? What was different? You know, I'll always have that element of surprise. But I would like to emphasize that self-disclosure of some things is really, really important. You don't want to hide everything that, and then unakuja kuitoa uko 10 years later in marriage, na umse anashanga, who did I get married to? Like, what is going on? Like, what? You know, because there are people who may know what their husbands or spouse do, but they really don't know. They think that, and then later on you come to find out and you're like, I was married to who this whole time? You know, you don't want that bad surprise element. That said, the emotional regulation that you're talking about, I think, and Dr. Taji will, you know, demystify that for us. There are stages, elements also in relationships. These feelings, the chemicals, the attractions, I think that's in the dating stage. In the dating stage, you can get away with that. That's where now you're trying to decipher, how do I really feel about this person? That's where you're actually getting energized from their look, from their voice, from how they smell, because it's in the dating stage. You're still in the stage of come and see. Window shopping, come and see. So you're still whining and dining, but at that moment, even as you're doing that, you're still seeing some little things. How does he treat waiters? How does she treat people who, quote unquote, and I'm not saying subordinating, but quote unquote, you know, they're working here, they're serving you. How do they, those are the things you're teaching yourself as you did, even as you're intoxicated by their good cologne and everything else. You're still seeing little things. How does he handle you? Like, when you're getting out of the door, does he let you walk out fast? Does he, you know, you're seeing things that could potentially be red flags or green flags while you're dating. So at that moment, it's light conversations. You know, I like this movie. The other day I watched this. The other day, oh, I like going for hikes, adventures, you know, little things. And they bring out, oh, I read this book. Oh, what did that book say? You know, that's the time you're starting to understand their interests. That's the time you're starting to understand, are they adventurous? Are they kind-hearted? Are they patient? When you come 1 hour late, did they wait for you? That's in the dating period. Now, when you pass the dating period, You know, at that dating period, you know, you're still regulating. You should regulate your emotions because you don't want your emotions to go ahead of you.
Yes.
If you allow your emotions to go ahead of you, you stop learning the person. It blinds you, and that's where people come and say love is blind. No, it's not. No, you became blind because you let your emotions lead you. Yani zimekimbia mbele yako. By the time you're catching up with them, you have not seen any red flag. And then now you get in there and you're like, what? Wait, what? This person was always like this. They always talked this, you know, this rough, and they were always this mean, you know. So after that dating process, yes, really regulate your emotion. Then you get to the courtship, because you can't date for 5 years.
No, not
that's
at all.
Not that's witchcraft. You're not 5 years dating for 5. No, you know. So. You move on to something. You know, you date is come and see. Do I like what I'm seeing? Do I want to invest in what I'm seeing? Do I want to spend time? Do I want to invest in time, resources, and other things? Then now you get to courtship. Courtship is where now you're getting a bit deeper. You're fishing deeper. You're not fishing on the surface anymore. Umechoka na samaki za juju, nataka mashats na nini. So you're going deep, you know? You're like, that's why you're asking all the important questions. Now that's where now the emotional regulation really needs to come in, because again, when your emotions are too much on the surface, you will not ask the questions that you need to ask when you need to ask them.
Absolutely.
You know, so you always have to, what Moffat was talking about, let your frontal cortex work, logic. That's where you're reasoning, you know. That's why you're asking deep questions. If this and this happen, and you realize when people go for classes, premarital classes, the proper premarital classes, there are things that will be asked. What happens if this person loses his investments? What happens if your spouse dies before you? Like such, you know, you're asking each other's important questions that matter to you. Meaning, you have regulated your emotions enough for you to be self-aware of what you want and answers you want answered at that particular moment.
Okay.
Counseling couples have led me to realize there are people who are asleep during courtship. Questions you should have asked during courtship, you didn't ask. Things you should have seen during courtship, you didn't see. And then now, 6 months after the wedding, you're in for counseling, because that's when you're seeing. Like, for example, you know, randomly, I've counseled many couples like that, where the guy has come complaining that I'm tired of eating fast food. So and I think also Moffat brought up a client like that once a while, but I've also counseled someone like 6 months after the wedding. This guy has never eaten a home-cooked meal. And at first it's cute. Take out. Yeah, we're still in our honeymoon phase. But the guy had no idea this chick could cook.
At all?
No.
She wasn't just lazy. She can't.
She's like, for her, she's like, that's not my thing. And I'm not being lazy, and I was never interested in cooking, and I don't think you married me for cooking. If that's the case, you should have gotten a maid. I am your wife. I'm here to compliment you. I have my career that I'm working on. You have your career that you're working on. So this nitty-gritty is here in the middle. We didn't talk about them, and to me, they don't matter. You know, I mean,
they didn't come up.
Exactly. But now here is a guy 6 months later saying, but those things are important to me. I want to eat my wife's meal. I want a home-cooked meal. And she's saying, no, me, that is, I'm not hire a chef. I can hire a chef. The career I have, I'm making good money. And it's like, it's not a chef I want. It's like, I want a domestic. Then she's like, but I was never domestic even when you met me. So how did he not notice? How did he not know she was never domestic? And as she's saying, me, I was always this person. I showed you who I was. Did I cook for you that time? No. We always went out to eat. Yes, because to me, that's what I do. But he assumed, we'll get married and she will all of a sudden become domestic. So the right questions were never asked. The red flags were never seen because the emotions ran ahead. So what I'm saying is emotions are important, but they have their place, right? Regulate them. They have their place. Definitely, they are the glue. Emotions do glue us together at some point. But at the same time, allow yourself to use your logic, allow yourself to reason, allow yourself to see, allow yourself to ask the right question.
Absolutely.
And allow your eyes to remain open. Don't go blind. You know, see the red flags, see the green flags wherever they are.
Yeah.
And let all that come as a mixture, because also, emotions, you know, but don't let them lead you.
Okay.
Don't let them lead you.
Mukona,
I don't know whether I should connect this with the question that you
the chiseling,
Maybe I should say something on lazy before he goes to that. In marriage, there is nothing like being lazy. There is no vocabulary, and more so for the couple, of being lazy.
Okay.
Because maybe that night I want us to be cozy and I want things to happen. You have to do something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you say, you know, I'm tired today, tired tomorrow, I'm also tired, the whole thing crumbles. You can't say you are lazy also that you'll not cook.
Yeah.
You have to know how to do it so that there is a meal. So one thing that I have learned in marriage, I never talk of lazy. I have just to get up and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
He also has to get up and do what he needs to do, because this is a union that must go on. So unless you say today, let's go somewhere.
Yeah.
But if something needs to be done, there's nothing like lazy. So you don't buy food out because you are lazy. You buy food out because you realize it is late.
Yeah.
And you cannot fix something. By the time you get to the house, everybody is sleeping. So you buy. But if you entertain the word lazy, nothing will ever happen in the home.
Absolutely.
Clothes will not be washed. Food will not be fixed and so on. I did not mean to interrupt you, but I knew you were going to talk about that. Was eating me. Lazy.
Before she said it, because I said it. Okay.
What Bishop is talking about and what Myriam spoke about, it is the whole question of what we call creative intimacy.
Creative intimacy.
And it is so sad that some people think that it is... you know, they are being modern, or it is fashionable to eat out or to always have food from outside.
Yes.
What they don't know is that they are actually, like that man, I can hear him because he is crying for discovering this woman. And this lady does not seem to know that actually by doing food, cooking for him, or even us cooking in the house, there's some vibe that comes out of that. What we call the creative intimacy.
Yes.
That you love that person more because of preparing for you a delicious meal. It makes you feel nice about them. They do not know that they are actually throwing that away. They need to be informed, and I hope they are hearing us and hearing us good. That is so important.
Yes.
But then when we talk about us chiseling one another, the human beings, they have got this innate desire of wanting to be discovered and wanting to discover. That is a human being for you. And the moment the element of discovery is thrown out of the window, now that marriage begins to be boring. Because, and that is why Bishop was saying that, you know, somebody needs not to really open up themselves like a book. And I usually say that anybody, and especially when people are beginning now to respond to that chemistry, what they are mistakenly calling love at first sight. When somebody begins now to present themselves as a book, and they want to appear so caring, they want to appear, I mean, they flood you, you know, all over your space, it becomes suspicious. Okay? That love bombing, it becomes suspicious. Because naturally speaking, every human being, there is some energy, there is some element of joy that comes out of being discovered or even discovering the other party. Now, when we are chiseling one another, we are not necessarily saying that you lose who you are. Okay? Now, when we are discovering, when we are chiseling one another, it's like what we say when we talk about the love language. There's someone whose love language is touch. Another one is acts of service. Now, Unfortunately, there are some people who come loving one another the way they love to be loved. Meaning that if my love language is touch,
yes,
I become so touchy to the other person.
Yeah.
Little do they know that actually that is not how you reciprocate love language. I know that, probably, for example, her love language is quality time.
Yes.
So I offer quality time, and she reciprocates that with being, what did I say? Quality time and being touchy.
Physical, yeah.
Okay? So she will reciprocate that once I give her quality time.
Yes.
Because she knows me.
Yeah.
She has chiseled me, and she has discovered who I am.
Yes.
And I have chiseled her, and I have discovered, I continue to discover, because actually the journey of discovering is a lifetime. You don't get to know a person 100%.
That's true.
As a matter of fact, even dating and the courtship, it's just a tip of the iceberg. They give you those red flags, so that you can be able to know what kind of a person is this that I'm getting my life, I'm giving my entire life to him or to her. So as I chisel her, I discover a few things that she loves. Quality time. I discover that she loves quality time.
Yeah.
That is not who I am, remember.
Yeah.
Mine is maybe acts of service. Okay? But because I have discovered that she loves quality time, as I continue to chisel her, I'll be loving her that way.
Yeah.
And as she continues to chisel me, she discovers that mine is quality time. So she reciprocates acts of service, or rather quality time, with acts of service. Not the other way around. And this is where people make a mistake. So no marriage should make anybody feel like they are losing who they are. You know, in the Bible, there are some words of Apostle Paul I like referring to, where he says that I no longer live, Christ lives in me. And when I bring that in the context of marriage, I usually like telling people, we are not Apostle Paul, to the point that you make the other party cease to be who they are so that you live in them. That even when they are walking, when they are talking, when they are... I have seen some people, married people, somebody who used to be outgoing, but because of this man kumgadamiza, even when they go into public spaces, this woman is just like this. She's coiled because this man lives in her. She no longer lives. Now I'm bringing that scripture into the context of toxicity within marriage. That she no longer lives, the man lives in her. That even when she goes out in public, and this was somebody who used to be outgoing, somebody who was an extrovert, she loved making friends. This man sort of stopped that. And therefore she stopped living. And the man is the one who is living in her. I usually like telling people, and I hope they are following me, that should never happen. You should never live in your life or in your wife's life. Neither should your wife
live in your life.
So we need to give each other this space to be who they are. There's somebody who came and told me they are not able to reason together with the wife, because, I have realized that intellectually we are not able to reason at the same wavelength. And I remember asking this gentleman, he's a friend of mine. I asked him, now, when you married this girl, were you reasoning at the same wavelength? What made you come together? You've been in marriage for a number of years. What has made you stick together? And I remember telling this man, now that you have discovered that, because marriage is a journey of discovery, take your wife to school so that you can begin to reason at the same intellectual wavelength. There are some things that we ought to do. Marriage calls us into the deep. Once you discover somebody, because now remember, we have shifted from the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain, into another realm of intellect and logic. The prefrontal cortex. We are reasoning from that space. And you discover, by the way, I feel like intellectual intimacy, we shall come another time and talk about the aspects of intimacy. Intellectual intimacy. So this gentleman discovers that they are not able to reason out with the wife. They are not able to have a discussion around some intellectual subjects at the same level. And I remember telling him, don't you think you also need to expose her to such levels so that you can bring her where you are? And this gentleman was gracious enough and took her back to school and pursued a particular degree. So the other day we were laughing with him and I asked him, now, are you now able to reason at the same wavelength intellectually? And he said, yes, we are able now to. There's some ignorance that can only be driven out by books. And sometimes
I can see Dr. Taji just doing this.
There are some things that you just soak yourself in books, seeking information. Finally, Mwikali. I used to be, when I was growing up, I used to be, to love my grandparents. And every weekend, I would go to their home and spend the weekend there. And one morning, I heard Muze, whom I am named after, he's now late, asking his wife is also late. She was called Rebecca. Early in the morning. And they were very old. The man was around in his 90s. And the woman was in his late 80s. And I still remember that up to this day. And I heard this Muse asking the wife, my grandmother, Rebecca, what kind of a person are you? And you know, when I pursued this profession, I started thinking about that question. Yani, when you've been in marriage for 50, 60 years, and you have discovered something in your wife that you have never seen. So this thing of people thinking that you are going to discover your man, your woman like this,
Aitafanyika.
Haiwezi fanyika. That's a myth.
Tuko na caller from Nakuru, Victor from Nakuru. Good morning.
Victor from Nakuru. Victor. Sasa.
Hello.
Hii mambo yenye naona kwa kutuambia kuna love on the first date na katana.
Unakataa kabisa.
Kuna love at first sight na nimeshuhudia.
Wewe umeshuhudia?
Kulingana maoni yangu. Sio mtu unampenda mara ya kwanza uangalie jinsi anakaa. Uangalie jinsi anavaa. Yaani ni ile nafsi yake na yake imeingiana. Hauwezi angalia vile nisikia madam moja hapa akisema aliona vile kijana ana dance ndio akampenda kwa ajili ya ana. Kama ni yangu la first iko. Na nimeona watu kadhaa wenye wamekata kwa ndoto 25 years kwa ajili ya hiyo jambo.
Peter. Peter, unasema wewe unasema umepitia hiyo ama ulipata mpenzi wako through love at first sight ama umeiona na watu wengine?
Nimeona na kazini yangu.
Umeona na kazini yako? Na inaendelea vizuri. Wamekuwa pamoja, wako na familia.
Since 2004.
Since 2004.
Mpaka sasa 2025.
Hizo ni miaka mingi. Wacha tutasikia kile expert wanasema. Asante sana Peter.
Sawa.
Aya, tunashukuru, and we have a bit more feedback from WhatsApp just before we take a break. Let's see that. Asante. Hey NTV, it's Darlene Jeria. Bishop Grace Dalizu as a trusted voice in marriage and ministry. I'm curious, how should we understand love at first sight through a spiritual lens? Could it be a divine signal of a God-ordained connection? Or is it often a heightened emotional or psychological response? Lovely conversation. Thank you so much, Darlie. I think this is for you, Bishop. Utatujibia tukitoka break. We have another one. Hey, I'm following Kinley and I'm learning something. Thank you, Stephen Gift, for being part of the conversation. Asante. I would wave hi at the person when we lock eyes. Anything past that might make me look weird. George from Kikuyu, asante sana. And he goes ahead to ask a question. What advice would you give to me? We have been on silent mode with my spouse since January 2005. Though we live in the same house and sleep in the same bed, would temporary separation do us good? One person will take that. And hi NTV, thank you for that. What would I do if I locked eyes with someone and felt something intense? It's just wait and see, because you can't really tell. Yeah, tumekubaliana nawe. Mambo ya love at first sight tuachie watu wa majuu. Afrika hakuna kitu kama hicho. Hello NTV Kenya. Mimi, I'll just start a conversation with a guy and we continue. Kwani relationship wanzaje Mwikali? Just like that. Esther Kim Sawasandi tuned in from Homa Bay just to ask, is there a particular time for one to start dating or to get into a relationship? Yeah, to master your question. Pia, hello, I'm Eugene from Kakamega. Love at first sight is a scam. After all, you will just smash and break. Where? I entirely agree. Okay, I think you require fixing the nation. It's Lamek from Utawala Residence, Nairobi. Show iko superb. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kindly let me have the contacts of the counselor in a white shirt. I'm Finis Mogambi from Meru, but I want someone there mwenye anaongea. Finis, unasema nini eti? Ni kama hatukupati. What can you advise me? What can you advise me, because I don't believe in love? I don't believe in love. We have a couple of more questions. I hope kila mtu amechukua yake and you have noted which one to answer. When you come back, we'll definitely start with you, Dr. Taji. You've been quiet. We'd like to poke into that for a little bit, but the question we're asking you today is, what is it that you will do if you lock eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense? What would you do next? If you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? Our lines are open, and of course we'll have our panelists also answer the question, or probably just changia what Peter had called in and talked about. But right now though, we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The conversation is still going on during the break, and definitely planning to give you all the answers for the questions that you've asked today concerning the conversations we're having today, and the question of the day, which is, what would you do if you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense? If you locked if you locked eyes with someone across the room and felt something intense, what would you do next? Our tap line is open, our phone line is open. You can call in, and social media, NTV Kenya, on all our social media platforms. But before we get to answer all of your questions, we're talking about emotional regulations and communication. Just before we went on a break, and we had the panelists chiming into that. And Dr. Taji, would you like to just get into that just a little bit before we answer the questions that we've been asked already?
Thank you very much. Marriage, just like every other social institution, requires regulation.
Okay.
Both external and internal regulation. Previously, in our previous settings, in our traditional societies, this external regulation came from the society itself, okay? And the parties in a marriage will try to confine themselves within the societal expectations.
Yes.
And with this regulation, of course, we don't have the statistics, but it is believed that marriages generally tended to last longer.
Okay.
With the current changes in our society, we see that that role of external regulation by society is diminishing, since we have adopted the westernized model of marriage and love. And because of that diminished role of society, the Muzungus developed a system to replace societal regulation.
Yeah.
That is marriage counseling. Okay, so they have a very, structured way of doing it. They have premarital counseling where expectations are managed and handled, and then counseling during marriage. And it is the norm within their system.
Yeah.
When there are issues in marriage, they go for counseling. In our situation, we are adopting, but slowly.
Okay.
We are adopting it, but it is slow. The uptake is slow, but I'm hoping that we'll get there, because there must be something to replace the external regulation that used to be there by society. There must be a replacement. There must be something else playing that function, another institution that plays that function, so that when people are in marriage, they see how to now regulate themselves as guided by a framework that they get from outside. Now, like the example we've just had of somebody who was complaining about eating takeaway. I was just wondering, if he likes cooked food cooked at home, why can't he cook? You know? Kama unapenda kula ugali ya nyumbani. Pika. Okay, because the reality is that marriage, the institution of marriage as we knew it previously, where the roles were very clearly defined and genderized, that this is the role of the woman, this is the role of the man, it is changing with time. And as it changes, those who manage to adapt to those changes will find it easier to survive. Like they say, survival for the fittest. Those who adapt best will survive better.
Okay. And we had a bunch of questions from our WhatsApp number, and more are still streaming in. But I remember the very first one was to you, Bishop Grace, about love at first sight and how you see it through the spiritual lenses.
Thank you, Mwikali. I've read that. I listened to you read the question. And what came out clearly is that she wanted to know, because I believe she's a lady, in the Christian setup or spiritual setup, how do we treat love at first sight? And I want to say that that happens in the Christian setup, but more often than not, it is taken too fast by those who are guardians or those who are leaders in that setup, because the moment that feeling is detected, you find that a man comes to you or a lady comes to you and says, you know, this is what I feel, and I think God is leading me towards this young man. And they do that even towards men and women, and men towards women. And for us, what we normally do, and that I hope will also answer her, is that we tell them to take time. Take time, let us pray, be in that talking stage. You know, don't do anything, don't commit, but can you be in the talking stage until an appropriate time? If the feeling is still there and you feel led that way, then get into the dating. But get into a dating that, you know, has those lines, you know, clear lines that we are not going beyond this until we confirm that we really want to get further than this. So seeing through the spiritual eye, behind the scenes, I want to acknowledge that Moffat has told me something, that that should be guided by scriptures. What does the scripture say about you meeting somebody else of the opposite sex and going ahead with that relationship that may end up, because we don't allow them to stay for 5 years the way Myriam said that is witchcraft. I agree with her, because there are those who take too long until you forget, and they end up sinning, end up in an arrangement that is like a marriage outside you. So you don't really get to know what is going on. So what I want to say, if you're guided by the word of God, Dali, then it's very easy to tell, and by prayer and by guidance by those in authority, because we are there to guide them, to direct them, and also to see beyond what they are seeing and tell them this could be infatuation. Can you, because maybe a guy is singing very well, and at first sight you like the way he looks, the way he sings, the way he moves at the, you know, our altar, and you want, this is the man, I want a husband like this. And you begin to even pray. And many times those prayers may work or not work depending on the will of God. So sometimes you feel like the person was deceptive, but the truth of the matter, God was not leading you in that direction. Absolutely. Maybe Moffat will add something.
Thank you,
He's the bishop here.
Deputy Bishop here. Asante sana.
Yes.
Now, that is very true. Mwikali, I don't refute the fact that God speaks.
That's true.
And he can speak to us over very various subjects, including marriage and who to marry. There is that quickening of the spirit. But I also like saying that it can also be dangerous when we over-spiritualize issues.
Yeah.
I usually say that even when God appeared to Mary, the mother of Jesus, the Bible says that she was already betrothed to Joseph.
Yes.
So God comes into an arrangement that was purely had been done by man. Okay?
Yes.
And having said that, does it align with his word? What does it say about righteousness? What does God's word say about righteousness? What does it say about self-control? You know, such a person really needs to align themselves with what the word of God says around that.
Yeah.
But remember, they also have their part. They also have their part. We never saw God coming to kurushia Joseph mistari kwa Mary.
No.
You know, they also have their part.
Yes.
That is very important for me to say.
Yes.
Because again, I have seen even people who have been misled by their religious leaders that God is saying that you marry that one or you marry that other one.
Yes.
And I know we are living at such a time when there is a lot of misconceptions and a lot of deception, even within church or our places of worship. So somebody really needs to be where they are at the right time. But at the same time, I also would want to ask such a person, could this be something that is being driven by their desire to get married? I have seen people, and especially ladies. Ladies, your sins are forgiven.
What? Amen to that, though.
But I have spoken to many of them, and you hear them saying,
yes,
you know, my biological clock is ticking, and I'm afraid.
It's a fact.
And some people, even you sit next to a man in a matatu, and you are looking at him through the lenses of marriage, okay? And because they are being driven by their desire. So could this be something that is coming as a result of your so much deficiencies? Some deficiencies that you have, and they are the ones that have taken the reasoning, they are the ones that are on the steering. And you begin to think, God is speaking. So if somebody looks at you in a certain way,
3 children later,
you begin to think that God is speaking. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Now, there's a person who asked about being quiet on each other since January this year.
And if a temporary separation would be a solution for them.
Now, I may want to ask such a couple, where did the rain start beating you?
Okay.
How did it start? Because I usually don't like looking at the presenting problem.
Okay.
I would want to go deeper. I feel like there's so much that that question is not addressing, or that listener is not telling us. How did it all start? What has caused this communication breakdown? Could it be as a result of a lot of connection beads that someone is throwing at you and you turn them down? We need to really probe and explore what has caused that, because I feel like what he has presented is a symptom of an underlying problem. And therefore, I would say I wouldn't advocate for separation or divorce, but I would want to encourage you to seek help first. You need to sit down with someone who is going to help you walk through that up until when you discover, why did this communication fail? What has brought this communication breakdown? Because there could be a lot of things that we need to address before we come to that conclusion that you know, you need to stay apart. But you know, speak out, and we really want to appreciate you, because I think it's a man who has asked this question. You know, even the mere act of asking that question is a plus for me. So go a step further and look for someone who can sit down with you and your wife, because it appears to me that even the energy that has driven him into asking this question is because he loves his marriage. You know, he's even wondering, do we separate? What is going to, in fact, he's saying, do we separate for a moment to see whether things can work? Meaning
so
that he's still
over.
He's still really connected to this marriage and this woman. And therefore, I would really want to encourage you to speak up, go and seek help. You can talk to someone who is able to break this stalemate. And you know, Mwikali, there are some people who sort of tell one another, we want to see who is going to blink fast. Nataka nione nani ataongea akiwa wa kwanza. Let me tell you what I tell my premarital class. If they are listening to me, I usually say, hiyo ni ujinga kilo kadhaa. Unaona hiyo kitu ya kusema ati ninyamaze so that she can speak fast or he can speak fast. Your marriage is going to die, not because you wanted it to die, but because you did not choose the route of wisdom. The route of wisdom is understanding and acknowledging that it is not weakness to seek help. And there's a lot of help that is available for you, young man and young lady.
There was another question.
Sorry, let me add something about silent treatment. And even when I give talks to women, unfortunately, women know how to practice silent treatment very well. I always tell women, that is not the way to solve problems, because when you don't talk to him, who do you think he's talking to? He's going to find someone to talk to. He'll find someone to talk to. There's no vacuum. In the spiritual, there's no vacuum. In the emotional, there's no vacuum. So whatever wherever you put a vacuum, something will come in and fill that vacuum. You would rather even talk to release your frustration, to release your anger, to release something, just at least speak. Voice out how you're feeling. Because most of the time, not even most of the time, none of us are mind readers.
No, we're not.
When I keep quiet, you won't know why I'm angry at you, Mwikali, unless I come and tell you, you hurt me this way. You will never know. You're going on about your business. And the more he goes about his business or she goes about her business, the more you get irritated. Like, how is their life moving on? They can't see I'm pissed. But they have no idea you're angry. They have no idea that, you know, that you're going through something. Let me give a very personal example. A couple of years, maybe 4 years ago, I lost my mom. And I have a very dear friend of mine who was trying to journey with me. And I remember I would get angry with him because he's not supporting me the way I want to be supported. But guess what? Later on, that's when I realized I never told him how I wanted to be supported. He supported me the best way he knew how. But I wanted to be supported differently. And it felt like you weren't there. And later on, I'm exploding saying, you weren't there for me. But then he's like, but I was even calling you 5 times, you know.
But that's not what you wanted.
No, because I wanted proximity. I wanted this person to be there. But I'm not voicing it out. And most of the time, that's what usually happens in relationships. Like Moffat said earlier, we're not voicing out how we want to be loved. So me, I'm loving you with my love language, right? But that's not necessarily how you receive love or want to be loved. But I'm loving you the way I know how. But we never ask the right questions. Even when people are going through something, you never go ask your partner, yes, your business has failed. How would you want me to support you at this time? So what happens is this person holds resentment. And said resentment because of unmet expectations that were never verbalized. So that's what silent treatment is. You're going silent on someone who has no idea you're angry over something or you have a concern. So I would encourage people, learn to voice out, one, your expectations. What is making you angry? Where the communication breakdown is. You spoke to me badly. Next time I would really want for you to speak to me this way. I feel this way, especially feeling statements. I feel feeling statements are good because you're not attacking the other person. Most of the time when we are fighting, we're like, you always do this, you always do that. The person feels attacked. But when you come and say, the last time you did this, I felt like you hurt me. I felt like you didn't listen to me. You're not attacking them that you're not a good listener. You're telling them in this particular time, I felt like you didn't understand what I'm going through or what I am feeling. So let's learn how to verbalize our frustrations and our miscommunications instead of harboring silent treatment. Nobody is a mind reader. They can't read what you're feeling.
That is so true.
And the silent treatment, it starts with a very small space. The space grows. And let me tell you, coming back is a process, because you have grown in a different way, they've grown in a different way. And now you're trying to come and meet in the same space. It's a long walk, and it's a walk of shame. You know, so you'd rather just learn how to verbalize as you go on.
Absolutely. We've got about 4 minutes to the end of the show, and we've got loads of questions. Yes?
Actually,
yes.
There's a way that couple, like she's saying, can actually break that silence. By one of them who will agree to take the route of humility and initiate conversation. And it is not weakness to do that. Initiate conversation. So whether it is the lady or the gentleman, just initiate conversation. And once you realize that like it's not working, reach out to someone who is able to take a neutral position and is able to lead you into the kind of life you may want to live.
That's so true. There was a demonstration in church this Sunday where there was like a rope, and one person is pulling from the other, and the demonstration of just putting the rope down and walking to the person. So it's one of those ones where you have probably to just be the one to, despite whatever, but if it becomes like an ego game, then you lose something beautiful. And I am open for your parting shots as we come to the end of this conversation, and we'll start with you. I know we've got about 3 minutes to the end of the show, so we'll start with you, Dr. Taji. What should we take away from this?
Thank you. I will go back to the issue of regulation.
Yes.
That we need to recognize that as a society we have evolved, we have moved from where we were.
Yes.
And that now where we are, it's important to embrace counseling. It's important to embrace help. And this should start before marriage. Couples, while dating or during courtship, need to go for premarital counseling. It helps to manage expectations and to know what to expect and to begin learning the partner, begin to understand each other.
Dr. Taji, do you believe that love at first sight exists? One word, and then we move on to the parting shots. Do you believe it does?
No, it does.
Okay, fantastic. Bishop, parting shot and also an answer to that question. You've got about 20 seconds.
Mine is to say no to silent treatment.
Yes.
The secret to a thriving relationship, you must speak to one another and not at each other. Now, for me, I believe there is love at first sight.
Well, put your parting shot in the question.
For me, I don't believe in love at first sight, but I believe in attraction at first sight. That is very, very critical. And there's someone who had asked for a number.
Yes, please.
I can perhaps give him my office number, 0741 47 47 56. 0741 47 47 56. Somebody is going to answer his call.
Absolutely.
He will get help.
Okay, Asante Sana. Myriam?
For me, like Moffat, like I said earlier, I believe in attraction at first sight. You can definitely get attracted to someone. Love is work. Love takes work. And as for my parting shot, I want to answer the lady who talked about asking, does love exist?
Yes.
I think it's bad if we leave her hanging. Love does exist. But what I want her to do before, because it seems she's very heartbroken, and she actually said she's heartbroken, before you move to the next relationship, first heal what is broken, heal what is hurting right now, because your brokenness is going to attract the same exact thing that you have been attracting. So first heal. Secondly, ask yourself these questions. Like Moffat talked about, why am I getting into a relationship? Is it desperation? Is it my clock ticking? Why do I need a relationship right now? If you can't answer that question, then take time. Take time first to understand yourself. Take time to be self-aware. Take time to heal past traumas. And then answer that question, I'm going to get into a relationship because of this, I'm whole, then allow yourself to know people as you emotionally regulate yourself, like Dr. Taji is saying. It's so important. Okay. Don't rush into a relationship because you're feeling lonely, because you're feeling broken. No. Okay. Get into a relationship because it's the right time and that you're ready for it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Myriam. Thank you, Moffat. Thank you, Bishop Grace. And thank you, Dr. Taji, as well. It was lovely to have this conversation. My take home, and I know I did not, but I said I will not share because now already, by the first question, we already knew, ni kuanguka pu. But I think for me, my take home is really on emotional regulation and not get carried away with the wave of that attraction that happens when you meet someone who aligns with probably how they look physically, how they make you feel and all of that. Let that not, you know, isikubebe sana, usahau kuuliza maswali nyeti na pia kujua kama mna naulizo kwa masikio, my producer, if I believe that true love exists. Yes, I do believe that true love exists. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It was a lovely, lovely Relationship Tuesday, and I hope to see you tomorrow for another amazing, amazing session on Your World. From me to you and everybody else who made this production a success. Asanteni sana. Kwaherini. Adios. Have a good day.